Make a critical difference in a difficult, tragic event again, because as you remember, there was so much problem with that 7 years ago. So when you talk about their interest in issues that have resulted from what happened here, I certainly see that on the campaign trail day to day, and I'm sure Senator Obama has had similar exchanges. Often at events like this, there is an opportunity to be greeted by people who have a very personal connection. So I suspect we did see family members there and first responders, and now they are approaching the site. David?
Yeah, this is actually, from what I understand, this is where the memorial, the formal memorial, will eventually be built. But that has also, as you see them put the flowers down there, this the permanent memorial has also had all kinds of design problems, and the one that they are using today is essentially a temporary. But let's watch. So from here, the program calls for John McCain and Cindy McCain and Barack Obama and Michael Bloomberg, the mayor of New York, to shake a few more hands of first responders. The first responders represent both firefighters and the police and other rescue workers who came to 9/11 7 years ago. There are also some family members that are there. And all those flowers that are apparently been placed in that sort of a temporary memorial, those were placed there earlier in the day by police and fire and family members. And so with John McCain and Barack Obama shaking hands, they will then essentially walk back out of the pit and walk back up to sort of street level. And that will sort of mark the end of the McCain and Obama appearance together at Ground Zero. Again, for so many Americans, where they are is considered a hallowed ground. It's a place, of course, where 3,000 Americans were killed. There are plans, regardless of what gets rebuilt at Ground Zero, to preserve the original footprints of where the Twin Towers once stood. And the question, of course, is going to be how can they preserve both the footprints and try to revitalize Lower Manhattan, because, of course, it's been a very tough rent. And all these plans that they have for putting in office space, at least the Freedom Tower plan, has had all sorts of financial difficulties, which has just compounded some of the building delays there. But again, let's just listen in and see if we can hear the exchange between Barack Obama and this man. O'Donnell, let's bring you back in there as we see sort of John McCain in this sort of intimate moments, talking with first responders, and Barack Obama doing the same. What is John McCain's sort of personal takeaway from these types of exchanges with people? Is this something that McCain enjoys? Is it something that he's good at? Give us a sense about that.
Well, I think when you have politicians who reach this pinnacle, the presidential level, it's almost impossible to get to that point without being someone who has a capacity to connect to individual people in a way that we're seeing now with both Senators Obama and McCain. From being on the road for 9+ months now with Senator McCain, I think part of what he enjoys is this opportunity to speak to individuals in addition to the big crowds, but to talk one-on-one with people who are able to give him some sort of a feedback, even in a moment, to look in their eyes, to shake their hands. I'm sure the same is true for Senator Obama as well. In a year when they are traveling so much and the demands on their schedules and time are so enormous, to have moments where they are reminded about the parts of American life that matter so much, and certainly meeting first responders like we're seeing here, people who have dedicated themselves to public service. That is something that I think inspires both of these presidential candidates, and is something that they want to be able to take a moment like this where they can be seen together, these two candidates. The rivalry is put aside for a moment, and you see these kinds of personal exchanges, which in talking to Senator McCain, he has described being sort of re-energized and inspired by dealing with people in that personal way in what is a very tough year of campaigning, with so much that is thrown at both of these gentlemen all the time. Having quiet moments like this are rare, and I think they are the kinds of things that these candidates will remember when this race is over. David?
And Kelly, I gather that this is essentially it as far as McCain and Obama sort of being together and having an opportunity to talk, because tonight at the Forum on Civic Engagement, they're appearing back to back. They will actually not be on stage at the same time, at least according to the program. So whatever they're sort of reminiscing with each other today at this hour, that's essentially it. And I can only imagine what it would be like to be a fly on the wall or on the lapel of one of those two in terms of what they talked about as they walked into the pit and what they're noticing right now. But Kelly, do you know why? I mean, we see Cindy McCain there. Do we know why Michelle Obama is not there, or why Cindy McCain was there?
I don't know what Michelle Obama's public schedule is, but I believe she had other events, and Mrs. McCain has been traveling with the senator and will be for at least the next week or so. So they were already traveling together. And for something like this, I'm sure she was invited to attend as well. And we often see Mrs. McCain traveling with her husband. She does some separate events, but especially since the convention, they've traveled quite a bit together. I think it's simply a matter of Mrs. Obama's schedule covering other territory, if you will, in the political parlance today. I'm not certain of that, but that would be my sense of it. And I think with this kind of an event, they were invited to be here to make this kind of quiet, respectful acknowledgement of the day. And these images will last long after. But they don't really need words here. I suspect the conversations between them were the light kind of conversation of acknowledging that they're together. These are two very fierce rivals who spend all of their days almost antagonizing the other, and to take a moment to simply experience this together is certainly memorable for them. And then, as you pointed out, later when they will be on the stage together, they won't be appearing side by side. To go back to politics for a moment, certainly Senator McCain frequently says that he wishes Senator Obama had accepted the offer extended to him to appear jointly at town halls. That has been a recurring comment from Senator McCain, because from his point of view, he thought the American people would benefit from seeing both candidates together at events more than just the three major debates. So that's something we have seen many times.
The body language is so intriguing. I mean, if you were to, when you look back at this tape from about 45 seconds ago, and at first there was Barack Obama and John McCain walking together, and then John McCain pauses and waits for his wife to catch up, and then essentially his wife is sort of placed in between McCain and Barack Obama, and there's not been really any interaction, at least on the walk back up, between McCain and Obama. It's like there's John McCain and Cindy, his wife, and there's Barack Obama chatting with Michael Bloomberg. And again, I mean, it's easy to sort of read, I suppose, too much into the body language and into these images, but it is striking nonetheless. The way this has sort of been positioned, and the way they're sort of looking, and sort of the lack of engagement, I suppose, between McCain and Obama. And maybe this is certainly not a time for them to sort of chat or even sort of take in this together, but it is striking nonetheless.
I think it is perhaps that they don't want this to be about the two of them any more than it already is. And if they were to be spending a lot of time talking to each other and not greeting the people who are here, that might be perceived in less than flattering terms. So I suspect when you think about what are the options for them here, this was a program that was preset for them to walk down to meet these individuals who are aligning the path. And I find it kind of interesting that Mrs. McCain was the buffer between them, because both candidates have said, hands off our families. So she, I guess, was serving a notable purpose in symbolic terms to be between these two gentlemen today as they come back. But you can see the smiles. As watching this along with you, David, I've seen them chat with each other a little bit. Also, of course, acknowledging their host, Mayor Michael Bloomberg. And this is an event that doesn't have a lot of content. It is really more about images and these personal exchanges. And I think viewers and voters probably benefit from just being able to take it in.
Yeah, and you got to wonder about those Americans who, for whatever reason, are going to decide not to participate in this election because they can't stand politics and don't believe politicians of any stripe, and you got to believe that they think that this is all just a big photo op in some weird way for both presidential campaigns. But nonetheless, again, a very sort of a solemn hour at Ground Zero in New York in Lower Manhattan. as the police and fire and their representatives, their honor guards are there as John McCain and Cindy McCain walk by, and Barack Obama as well. And then at a certain point in a couple of minutes, we will see